Greetings one and all, and welcome to the first episode of the AGL All Gone Latics Media Podcast. I am Dan, and I'm here with my co-host, the owner of the All Gone Latics franchise, Mr. Malcolm Blazier. Who are you, sir?
Liam Sefton.
Ah, welcome, Liam. I believe you have something for me there. Is that right?
Yo.
Jaron Filer, Nicky Eden, Gary Teal, Tony Bidding, Leo Roberts, Andy Little, Matt Jackson, Steve McMillan. We're
not sponsored by the Progress Unity Podcast at all.
No. Even though I might have appeared on this Progress with Unity podcast thing, this is nothing to do with it, okay? So let's not mention it again.
Nope.
There's
only one podcast.
So you wanted to say something about our introduction theme there, which was blatantly stolen from nowhere.
Yeah, it's always bugged me, that song, because you can tell that the guy who's made it has got, no idea who we're going to have to get out.
Well, allegedly, that guy, I believe he won Stars in Their Eyes, didn't he? His name is John someone, and his claim to fame is he comes from Street in Ince. And I know that because I used to live near there, so he was a local celebrity.
Really?
That's right.
My God. Well, it says that we play at Robin Park, which we don't. All sorts of things that aren't true. Then there's, in the video, there's Wigan Rugby League stuff.
Yeah, but that video was made by just some guy on YouTube. It's not the official Wigan Athletic video that's uploaded. And also, something I've noticed about that video, it's not in full, is it? It's cut off halfway, the song. Which is rather strange. It just cuts out in the middle of nowhere from what I can...
E4 plus Alex needs to upload the full version.
Yes, or we can just get the song from somewhere. I know, I'll go down the street and knock on the doors and ask to see if anybody has the record. And I'll probably get lynched. It's a very, very rough estate, I have to qualify.
Is that higher or lower ends?
It reminds me of that stupid joke that they always tell on Wish FM. I was driving through Wigan and I met Bruce Forsyth. He was there, the man himself. And he said, Hiviv, can you tell me how to get to Ince? And I said, higher or lower? Right, well... forget that, because, oh dear, it's not really worked, has it? We're here to talk about football, but actually, before then, I have to say that I would prefer it if our stadium was called the Robin Park Stadium. Actually, no, I'd prefer it if it was called the Pie Dome, which is clearly the best choice of name for any stadium in Wigan.
Well, it could be called the Pie Dome if we filled in the gaps.
Oh yes, the gaps in the corners, which people seem to complain about a lot, particularly Manchester City under-18 fans.
Did they?
Yes, apparently, according to the JJ Killed Springy blog, which I was reading on Saturday, there were a couple of Manchester City under-18 fans at the Latics versus City under-18s game.
Also, they weren't Man City reserve or first-team fans, they just specifically followed the under-18s home.
Yes, those diehards stood there with the under-18s flags that they had specially knitted by their mother. Yeah, so they were complaining apparently, but the under-18s diehards. Very, very good attendance on the whole, that game. We're going to get to that game, actually. But first, we're going to speak about the game on a Saturday down at Bramall Lane in Sheffield. We played Sheff United. Liam, were you there by any chance?
I was.
Ah, well, anything major to report? I hear it was a very, very wet game, both outdoors and in.
Sunshine indoors. Indoors, more like.
Well, tell us the story. Can you tell us firsthand what happened?
I got there on the train at about 2:30, so I was frantically trying to get to the ground. We got to the ground at 5:02. We got in, said to mates, come on, let's go and put the flag up. Sod's law, where they usually put the flags up, they're saying we can't put them up there. We need to go all the way to the other side. And this is 5:03. So I'm thinking, oh my God. Right, so I'm taking a flag all the way to the other side. And then halfway there seems to be a few Latics fans enjoying themselves in the concourse. Jumping up and down and having a little sing-song, so that's all right. I'll just get past that. So I want to go and put this flag up, and the game's almost about to kick off. The smoke bomb goes off.
Oh.
My God.
Oh no.
The smoke bomb fills the air. According to Form, the sprinklers went off and flooded the kiosks.
Oh, cripes! Oh my word. I believe you posted something on Twitter saying the employees feared for their life. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's like some League One banter page, whatever. I was scrolling down that on Saturday night, and the actual stadium manager, or the manager of like that part of the stadium anyway, the catering, posted on the like 3 or 4 paragraphs worth of content about how our fans were outrageous and everything, and how they couldn't open because the staff feared for their lives. When they found out that the kiosks weren't going to open, there was a few people less than happy.
Oh dear. Let us just say that we do not condone the actions of these select band of supporters. They were just inebriated people acting like inebriated people. A little bit too jolly, shall we say.
Well, like half an hour in, one of my mates said, "Oh yeah, I'll just go down and get a hot dog." So he goes down and he's back up within 30 seconds. And he's like, "Yeah, well, the steward's just been saying that they're open at half time." And right at that moment, I was thinking, I'm starving. I need some eat. So I managed to last until like 85 minutes when I got myself a hot dog. And it was lucky that I took my flag out as well, because the stewards wouldn't let me back in.
Oh, right. So you went outside,
Yeah.
but they wouldn't let you back into the ground again.
I
Oh.
was outside with a burger for about 10 minutes.
I remember that subject came up at one of the FAB meetings. Are we allowed to say this? I hope we are. But it was the meeting where we had the caterers. They came along to give us a bit of a chat. I don't know if you were there for that one, Liam.
No, but I wish I was.
Right. And I actually brought this up personally. Is it possible to maybe go outside and buy some chips and then come back in again? So use the outside vans to buy some chips and then come back in again. And I think they said that that's absolutely fine. But in reality, if you tried that with 5 minutes to go at the DW Stadium, you'd find that they probably wouldn't let you back in. I do know they've had a couple of problems this season. I've seen it firsthand with away fans trying to get in and successfully getting in, actually, to the East Stand. Against Blackpool, I think, was one of them. They had particular problems. And again, against Port Vale, they actually did get in, I believe. But we don't know the whole story behind it. We've only got eyewitness reports to go on, I'm afraid.
Well, the Blackpool one was just the case of, well, I was in ES7 for the second half against Blackpool, but I think it was like 15 Blackpool fans went outside and 15 from ES2 went outside, and kind of went off outside the northeast corner. But the Port Vale one was interesting because as soon as they came across the bottom of the East Stand, you knew they were Port Vale fans. Where they came from exactly, I'm not sure, but I've heard people saying that they came from the supporters club, a door from there.
Oh, right.
But then other people are saying that they came from Block H, where the players walk in the southeast corner.
Yeah, they were coming from that sort of area. Yeah, definitely the southeast corner. But it didn't say exactly where. So it did seem as they were coming from the stadium, maybe. I don't know. My memory's hazy. I was half concentrating on the game, to be honest. I thought, oh, what are these guys doing? Oh, hello! They started waving at me. Well, I didn't wave back, but at the time, I thought they were home supporters. But then after about 30 seconds, when the stewards and the police came over, they were away supporters.
Well, they started singing, like, Standing Up If You'd Have the Veil or something, didn't they? Well, I seem to remember, like, just watching it, and then across the bottom, when Port Vale fans were singing some song, and they were just immediately joining in. I was like, oh, that really gives away your cover, really, because you're all singing Port Vale songs.
I guess so, yeah. Well, I think I actually had my headphones in, because about 50% of the time these days I listen to the game on the radio while I'm watching it.
Also, is it in sync?
NSYNC the band.
Is it in sync with the band?
Oh,
Band, the game?
yes, it is. Surprisingly, very, very well in sync, because sometimes when I go down to the concourse and you watch the TVs they've got down there, the so-called live feed from the game is about 30 seconds behind and jerky, whereas the actual radio commentary is crystal clear and it comes through straight away. So I don't know. I don't know if they've switched in the concourse to a web-based server or something rather than an actual broadcast. Either that or they're using a Windows 2.1 computer or something like that. An ancient computer.
I've always thought that the ones in the concourse were behind, but my first experience of it was when we played Blackburn in 2008-2009 at Blackburn. We were losing 1-0, I think, and then I went down to the concourse. There was quite a lot of us just on half time watching this camera in the queue, and there was a cheer that went up, and I had no idea because I thought it was live. This game, 10 seconds later, there's a corner that comes in and it's 2-0 to Blackburn.
I've always wished, actually, that they would broadcast those games on a stream or something on the website. You pay £2 or whatever, so you can watch the web stream. Because it's there, they've got access to it in the stadium. They could put it out on the internet. The only downfall to this is nobody would go to the games. They'd just watch it on the stream for £2 or something. But I really, really wish they would do it, because those games that I can't get to, those home games, I could watch on the internet.
But isn't that just the same as like Sky or BT Sport?
Well, yes, but there's only one camera, and there's no commentary, obviously. But I'm pretty sure that I have watched streams like that in the past, because 188Bet, I believe it is, or Bet365, one of those websites, they have in the past definitely offered streams of the games with that feed, because I've watched them. And I think towards the back end of last year, they did it quite a lot. Because we were in the fight for relegation, lots and lots of people, I guess, were putting money on us going down or staying up or whatever. So they would screen those games through their own website app. And yeah, I remember watching a lot of those and thinking, this is pretty cool.
But then if we did it officially, so obviously if you want to watch a Premier League game, you can watch it, any Premier League game, Championship games, here and there. But if that happened for even League One games, wouldn't that just be more of the same of TV dominating football? That if you're paying £2 or whatever, it doesn't matter if you're paying or getting it for free. No, you still pay for Sky, for BT, not ESPN, etc. So there wouldn't be any difference really. If someone wanted to watch the game, all they have to do is pay a couple of quid. But with watching it in the concourse, you've still gone to the game, so that doesn't really matter. That you're watching a stream that's already 30 seconds behind.
Yes. I say this from a very, very selfish point of view. It's not from the point of view of any club, because I'm sure no club would actually agree to do that, because you would take supporters away on the day, you'd lose 25 quid or whatever people would pay, and gain basically nothing. You'd just gain an army of armchair supporters who sit at home at the computer and watch the streams. So I wonder who licenses those out. Is it the club themselves, or is it Sky? I don't know, maybe Bet365 had their own cameras at those games and were using those feeds.
But it seems to be that Sky do it, because you only ever see really one angle on one camera. Especially on the ones for Bet365 and those kind of ones where if you have £1 or more on the game, then you can watch it, can't you, for the streams?
Yes.
There's usually one camera, which is quite a basic one, just shows an overview of the game. Yeah, I think it will be Premier League or Sky or some big broadcasting company that licenses it to them. Must be on the cheap as well, because they can't be making much more money just because they've got a stream of the game on.
Yeah, and I'd like to ask, where does the Beamback come into this? We've got a Beamback coming up actually against Millwall at the start of next month, and I wonder if it's the same cameras, or for the purposes of Beambacks, they have extra cameras. Have you been to a Beamback, Liam?
I've not, and I don't want to go to one. I'm not paying £5 or £6 just to watch us on Tuesday night in the stadium. But yeah, I think it is the same cameras as like Sky would use. I seem to remember Jonathan Jackson saying that we won a license or were given privilege to do it. I think it was part of the Football League's scheme, where they put all the local games on Saturdays and the furthest away games were on Tuesday nights.
Right.
And I think as a sort of payment to the clubs and to the fans.
A compromise, yes.
Yeah, you can have the games being back, which it's not much of a consolation really when you're having to pay £5 or £6 just to go and watch the game.
Okay. So why don't they then, because there's only limited numbers of seats inside the South Stand, I think they do it, why don't they then allow people online to pay the £5 so they can watch the stream? Or is that an issue when it comes to the Millwall fans? Because then what Millwall fans can do is say, oh, I can go to this game, but I can just go to the Wigan Athletic website and watch it online and sit in my armchair.
Or they could say that they could come to the South Stand at the DWU Stadium. They could come to the South Stand now instead of going to the game.
Yes, anybody who's going to the Beamback, please let us know if there are any Millwall fans there.
I'm worried they're fun as well.
Yes.
The Northampton branch of the Millwall Supporters Club.
Yeah. The Hindley branch, you mean? The Ince branch. Higher or lower?
Beat me to it.
Oh, yes. So, I might actually go to the Beamback against Millwall. I'm seriously considering it because increasingly these days, I'm getting really, really nervous when I listen to the away games on the radio. I really, really wish I was there. Whereas I don't get nervous when I'm actually watching the game. I don't know what it is. It's that comfort of knowing that if something's going to happen, you're going to see it. Whereas on the radio, you may hear about it, but you aren't going to see it, if you know what I mean.
I'm exactly the same. Where on the radio, especially when we had the old commentator, the one who had a really, really broad voice.
Oh, you mean Graham Lovett?
Was that him?
Oh, we've got a goal! Oh, I think we've scored! Oh! He was brilliant, him.
He was playing Hartlepool in the League Cup, and the commentary was pretty bad. You rarely knew who had the ball, and then after like 3 minutes, it was like, oh, Stephen Caldwell, let's go, oh, is it an own goal, And I'm thinking, Stephen Caldwell has scored an own goal. But no, what he meant was, Stephen Caldwell had put it into Hartlepool's net, but it had come off a Hartlepool player last. So it took me half a minute to actually explain it. I was like, oh my God, we just lost 4-0 to Blackpool, 6-0 to Chelsea, and now we're losing to Hartlepool.
Right. Yeah. I don't think we know how lucky we are at the moment with Ash Harton, who is possibly the best commentator we've had since Matt McCann. I don't think anybody could actually beat Matt McCann because he was just incredible. But Ash, he's very, very close to it. Were you around for the Matt McCann days? Do you remember him?
Yeah, I do remember him actually, yeah. I always remember him swearing live on Sky.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was giving out some press release. I was just watching it, and I can't remember what it was about. Something quite serious, though. He's halfway through it, it's like, Latics, and then he makes a mistake. Only a little mistake. He goes, shit. And then he doesn't realise he's actually live on Sky.
Oh, there must be somebody out there who's recorded that.
They cut him straight off, went back to the studio. Sorry about that.
And that was the beginning of the end of Matt McCann. Now, here's a fun fact. Back in those days, I used to have a homemade flag, a really, really rubbish one, that said Matt McCann the legend on it. It was only small, but if you actually go back and watch the VHS tapes of the 2003, 2004 season, you can see it behind the South Stand goal, only just.
So this is an actual flag?
Yes, I don't think I still have it. I threw it away. It got ripped. But yes, it said, WAFC, Matt McCann the legend. And once I went to put it up, I asked the steward, oh, can I put my flag up? And he said, yeah, sure. And I spread it out, and he said, Matt McCann the legend? Who the hell is Matt McCann?
Maybe you could, if you find it, just cross out Matt and put Chris.
Yes, yes, good idea. I'll see if I can dig it out.
Or we could make a new one. Ash Harton.
Yeah. It's just going to be basically crossing Matt McCann, then Chris McCann out, and adding... There's no space left, I'm afraid.
The whole media team.
What were we talking about, then?
In sync. That was what we were talking about.
Right, so long ago, I believe we were talking about actually listening to the radio while you were watching the game. And yes, that's something I do quite often this season, on the suggestion of another dude on that other podcast who we're not going to name. Did we have Ash last season? We did, didn't we? It was the season before. We had the Irish gentleman.
Was it just at the start of last season?
It was round about March 2014. 2014.
So basically, when it went downhill.
You mean when the club went downhill?
Yeah, so we've got Ash to blame.
No, we were actually slipping slowly down the slope at that point.
We won those 9 games in a row with Rosler. Thought it was amazing. Then we drew to Yeovil 3-0, and then it just completely collapsed. Last season, it is a blur to me compared to previous seasons. Even the good wins we got, we didn't really celebrate them. Like Reading away, won 1-0. No one really cared. Blackpool, I think it was because we kind of knew our fate.
Well, when we beat Blackpool, we still had a remote chance of staying up, didn't we? We were thinking, oh, we're going to do it. It's Wigan time. We're still going to pull it round.
I think it was a fighting game. Well, because we hadn't saw a home win in that long. And we saw one, and then we thought, Tim Chow scored as well. Oh, look at the league table. We can do it. But winning away, and winning away on Tuesday nights as well. So the one against Reading, and against Norwich as well. We beat Norwich. No, 2 really, really good wins.
Yeah.
Nobody was there to see them.
Yeah. I think the tooth was just rotten to the core, basically, at that point, and it just had to be extracted. I'm not saying Malky Mackay is that tooth. I think the whole problem that we had with low player morale from just loss after loss and lots of players who really didn't want to be there, that was the rotten core, I believe, and it needed taken out. And we're actually seeing the results of that this season. It does feel like you've had your tooth extracted and the pain's gone away and you're all fine again now, doesn't it?
Yeah, but people last season were saying, oh, he's crap, he's crap, he's crap. Well, they weren't. I used to go and think, who's had a bad game today? And there wouldn't be more than 1 or 2 players who had bad games, really, because they all played it so safe. They'd all be bang average. Everyone would be a 6 out of 10. 7 out of 10 in the push, James McLean, James Perch, everyone else. 5 or 6. No one would go much lower, no one much higher. They'd all play it safe, and they wouldn't want to make a difference, really, and take a chance. I think even though McLean last season wasn't great, he was still our best player by far, because he was someone who would always want to risk it. He'd take on players and he'd go for it. So you look at Don Cowie, Chris McCann, Ben Watson, even Hughes in midfield when he was fit. They didn't really do much. They were all playing it safe.
Oh, yeah. I'm pretty sure that we did have the talent. We certainly had the talent to keep us up last year. We had the talent to get us top 6. But for one reason or other, these players just did not play for us. They just did not perform. Maybe it was that thought of, we're never going to get back up to the Prem. We didn't do it last year. We've missed our chance. I just want to go somewhere else. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't know. It was just such a bad atmosphere. Whereas now, we've actually got a purpose again, and we've got a manager who the players want to play for. We've got a club that the players want to play for.
Oh, yeah. That's important because there's no big egos as well. All the lads who have come in are proud to play for the club, and they see the club as a Premier League club. And they're all League 1 players, League 2 players. They aren't established at all, where the players we had last season maybe thought they were a bit too big for us in a way. We had players coming from, obviously, Riera from La Liga, top division, he thinks he's fantastic. Hughes coming from Man City. Players like that, we were thinking, right, I can play in the Premier League. I want to get there. And as soon as we couldn't get there, they were thinking, right, I'm going to go somewhere else. Like Ben Watson, I remember that his last month at the club, he was awful. He was passing it 5 or 10 yards, nothing else. Tracking back, forget it. But he goes to Watford, and he's playing there every week. And he's in the Premier League now, playing for Watford still. Yes,
Ben Watson has always been, or at least when he was at Wigan, from then onwards, a Premier League quality player. And I don't know if necessarily he should be tarred with the same brush as all those other guys. But there again, we shouldn't offer him up as an exception. We shouldn't excuse him, because even though he's done so much good, he was part of the problem, because everybody was part of the problem. Yeah, sure, there were 1 or 2 guys who were trying the hardest, but collectively, it just didn't work. And even though he is a legend, this could be very, very controversial.
I was kind of glad that he went when he did, though, because if him, McManaman, even Espinosa would have carried on until the end of the season with us, and we went down, they would have left, obviously. But it would have been twice as bad if they would have stayed with us, because they would have been taking much more stick. Whereas leaving when we did, we can brush that up as a financial decision, where we needed to get rid of him, rather than them wanting out. If you get what I mean?
Yeah, I understand fully what you mean, and I think we did the right thing at the right time. I think Whelan did what he did at the right time. He didn't want to do it then. I think he wanted to leave it, say, another 6 months, maybe even another couple of years, but certain actions forced him into doing it. Did it contribute to our downfall that season?
Him stepping down?
Yeah, him stepping down. Do you think it affected the morale at the club in some negative manner, or do you think, as I said, the tooth was already rotten and it needed extracting by that point?
Well, in his build-up to the FA Cup final, he was saying that sometime in the next couple of years, this is quote, sometime in the next couple of years, I will pass the club down to one of my grandsons. David will take over running of the club.
Okay.
Unquote.
So that was 2013, yes?
Yeah, so you've got pretty much almost 2 years after that.
Oh, okay.
That takes over. So I think it might have been that was always the case, but the time that he did it was perfect, I thought, because it was a time where, yeah, we could be going down here. I think Jonathan Jackson's actually alluded to it, that relegation isn't the worst thing that could happen to us, because we consulted with Southampton director, who was saying it's fine because you can go down and rebuild. Maybe Whelan, Sharp, Jackson all thought that as well, where if we went down, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
Yes, but when you look at it, we're actually going to move on from this subject in a minute because it feels like we've been stuck on it for quite a while. I think Whelan, or at least the club, invested so much money in players the season after that we got relegated from the Premier League and the one after that. I'd like to actually see some statistics that say how much money was spent by those teams, in particular in the second season that we spent in the Championship. I wonder if we're up there. I wonder if we're up near the top in terms of just spending alone.
For wages, I think we were top 4. I think that's been alluded to. In the second season, we were top 4, top 6 anyway. I presume the first season we were as well, because obviously we had a lot of players who were still on Premier League wages.
Right, so that was last season and the season before, but this is now. And coming up, we have a potential problem for the rest of the season with, shall we say, a certain beach that is located in Newtown, aka Robin Park. I mean, the DW Stadium. I know you don't like it being called Robin Park, do you, Liam?
No.
But yes, currently the pitch is not in fantastic condition and it's not showing any signs of getting better. Last week, myself and Liam were at a Latics under-18s game, as we mentioned a little bit earlier, against Manchester City, which, by all accounts, was a fantastic game. And the under-18s, they far exceeded my own expectations. Maybe I should have expected more from them, because on the night, they were very, very, very good. You could see that there was a bit of a gulf between them and Manchester City, but we made up for it in the fact that we played a very, very good tactical game, I thought. I don't know what you thought, Liam, but in the first half, we managed to keep them down to 1 shot on target, and then the shots on target that City did get in the second half were kind of as a result of us tiring a bit, but also we were actually pushing out to try and score the winner, which you naturally do once the cup tie gets towards the end. So, what were your thoughts on the game?
I thought we played really, really well. It really shows that our academy can compete with anyone's academy in the country. Now, we are category, 2 or 3 club that can compete with any category 1 club.
We're category 3 currently.
Yeah, we can compete with anyone now, as we've shown last week against Derby, and the fact that we were unbeaten in God knows how long in the under-18s league. The reserves always do well. We've had players coming through that system. Man City want some of our academy players. We aren't giving them players because they don't want to go, etc. So it does go for the future. I thought, if anything, we let ourselves down.
Oh, really?
In the first half, because we just allowed Man City to have the ball.
Oh, right.
Eventually, we got more confidence and had more of the ball, but I thought we could have given more of the game in that first half. Okay, the first 20 minutes, you'd say, against better sides, that let them have the ball first, and you can ease into the game. But we're a really good side, and we're at home as well. We should have been going on more. But still, when we did, we attacked with a purpose, passed the ball out around the well. I thought Callum Lang had a really good game. So did Chris Sang. Defence was solid. And even though Man City's players were faster, stronger, and have played probably much more intense games than that one, and much bigger games than that one, we really did scare him, I think.
That's right. The Man City game was an awful lot like the Man City first team game, which is a very, very patient, respectful way of playing. Dare I say it's a little bit like Martinez's way of playing. And it was very much like going back 5 years to the Martinez era at Wigan Athletic, because they were very, very content to pass it among themselves, often to their own detriment. And maybe we've seen a little bit of that this season under Caldwell, but nowhere near as much as what City were doing at times during this game, because I felt confident enough that I could just send somebody a text message and it would take me 30 seconds and I would look up and they would still be passing it among themselves. That was their game, basically. Just take time out of the game. And even at that point, they weren't winning. I think they only hit the lead in extra time. At half-time and extra time was the first time that they hit the lead.
Yeah, and stress that it was at half-time as well, wasn't it?
It should have been half-time, because the referee had found an extra 5 or 6 minutes on top of the 5 or 6 minutes that had already been added on, just so they could take this pen. Well, just so they could get the penalty, really, because I think we had a shot or something and it went out for a goal kick, but that should have been it, half-time and extra time. But no, he played on. They played the ball through on the left-hand side of the penalty area. The goalkeeper comes across, brings down the City man, and it's a penalty, which there shouldn't have been time to take, but there was. And it's a very, very good penalty. But that was it, really. That was the end. I actually didn't think we would win that game as soon as it went into extra time. Our best chance to win the game was the effort that we had in the last minute where the free kick comes in. Do you want to explain that?
Oh, yeah. But we actually had two, didn't we? Two chances. There was one in extra time. I think it was the first half.
Yes.
Where Callum Lang took on one of the players. The keeper was out. There was an open goal.
Yes. He hesitated. Instead of shooting, he skipped to his right and allowed all the defenders to come back and say hello. And at that point, the chance was lost. I believe it went out for a goal kick or a corner or something, but
I think it was a corner, yeah.
Yeah, that was our best chance to win it in extra time. But for me personally, we were looking a little bit tired by the last 5 or 10 minutes. So I thought, this is a Man City in the FA Cup final situation. We've got to win this here and now. I know they didn't have a man sent off like City did, but I often visualise what might have happened if Ben Watson hadn't scored in the last minute of the FA Cup final. What I would like to think would have happened is we would have totally dominated the extra time period and scored. But what I actually think would have happened is nobody would have scored in extra time. We would have had a couple of chances, but City would have shoved everybody back and gone for the pens, and we would have gone out on penalties. Sorry to be negative. I'd like to remind you that that didn't happen, and we did beat Man City with the Watson goal.
Really?
But yes, oh yes, we did indeed. I can't believe it. It's incredible, isn't it? But yes, going back to the game last Tuesday night, I kind of think it was the same situation where we had to score there and then, otherwise that was it. We were never going to win the tie. Against such quality opposition, that's your chance. And what a chance it was. Right place, right time. We built it up as well because we got the free kick on the right-hand side, which was a very, very well-won free kick. I was surprised the linesman gave us that, but he did. A 15-man brawl breaks out. It's not really a brawl, just a bit of pushing and shoving. You could see the passion overflowing. I don't know, you just got that feeling, didn't you, that we're going to win this here and now. We're going to go and do it. The ball comes flying in, lands perfectly on Tom Powell, the sub's head, and all he needs to do is head it either side of the goalkeeper. He's, 5 or 6 yards away, but unfortunately it goes straight into the goalkeeper's stomach, and extra time it is.
I think if that goal would have went in, the crowd would have gone mental. Not because we won it, but because they could go home.
Yes, exactly. If there's any complaint I have about this game, is that it just went on for so flipping long, and the referee just would not allow us to go home. As it happened, I left when the third City goal went in because I had to go get the last train.
I was going before that.
Weird, but my goodness, was this a long and... Well, it wasn't an arduous game, but I don't know what this ref was up to. He was determined to destroy that pitch. He was determined to make us play on and on and on and make sure our carpet was destroyed for the rest of the season. And indeed, that leads us nicely into our next topic, which we introduced a little bit earlier on, and it is the DW pitch. At the under-18s game, it certainly was a factor, because there were 1 or 2 shots and 1 or 2 passes that weren't finding the mark because it was bobbling right at the last minute. Actually, I'd like to go back 1 game further to the last Latics home game against Port Vale, and there was 1 chance that Will Grigg had. I think we were 1-0 up at the time. Wiltshire crosses the ball across. You felt certain that Grigg was going to score. He was about maybe 10 yards away from the goal, and it's the sort of thing, he's on form at the moment. He just puts it away like breakfast or something. But no, the ball bobbles right at the last minute on some mysterious divot, and the ball goes flying over the top of the north stand. The Port Vale fans have the most fun they have all day. But yeah, I could sort of see the genesis of that happening here. And it got worse on the Tuesday night game. After about 30 minutes, the pitch was really cutting up. It was affecting not only our passing, but Manchester City's as well.
Yeah, I'd stress that it wasn't affecting Man City more than us, even though obviously they passed the ball a lot more. It seemed to be a bit of us, bit of them. You know, no team really got an advantage from the balls and the pitch.
Well, that is true. That is a good point to make. But if you think the pitch is actually in a far worse condition right now, as we speak, than it was at that time, because there's also been another game played, a rugby game played on it since then. And my brother was at this game, not that he's a Warriors fan or anything, but he basically told me that if they were to play a Wigan Athletic game on it the day after, it would be called off at 6 a.m. It was in such terrible, terrible condition. As we record this, it is the week before the Oldham game at the DW Stadium, and you have to wonder what sort of condition the pitch is going to be in and whether it's going to have any sort of effect. Now, you'd say with Wigan Athletic in such storming condition at the moment, much better condition than the pitch, I must say, we'd kill Oldham. The unknown in there is the pitch, the sandpit, the beach.
I think we can still win it because it's not that the Oldham don't pass the ball on the floor and they use their hands. You know, it's going to affect them almost as much as it affects us, as long as we don't mess about too much. As long as we take into consideration the pitch is in a bad state, we won't mess about at the back too much, and we'll just get it upfield. So if we do make some mistakes, then we won't be punished for them because they'll be in the middle of the park or be down Oldham's end, which is what Oldham will do. Oldham won't want to mess about at the back in any game. Never mind away to Wigan when the pitch is like that.
I understand what you mean, and I'm actually going to refer you back to the last time that Wigan Athletic lost at home. That was against Blackpool. Basically, it was a quagmire. We played that game because it started raining shortly, well, actually a long time before the kickoff, and it just continued raining, and it got worse and worse. And the pitch really, really was having an effect on the way we were playing, because we were playing the balls through. We just didn't time them properly in terms of the pitch, because every time we got the ball through to Wiltshire, the ball would get stuck around his feet. It didn't help there were 5 or 6 Blackpool players surrounding him at that time. Proper, let's say, League One British tactics. But yeah, I believe at that time what we should have done was change tactics a little bit to play more in the air. And I think we've actually improved since then. At the time, if you think we were on such a brilliant run when we played Blackpool, well, I actually think we're on a better run right now. We're playing much better. We've got that extra element to our game. I think we can adapt our game to the pitch, certainly.
Yeah, I didn't think we were on that much of a good run at that time. Even though you look at it and think, oh, we're unbeaten in so many games, we drew quite a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And also, it didn't seem to me that other teams were dropping that many points as well. Where now, the good run that we're on is being rewarded because the teams around us are collapsing. Coventry have just flattened out over the last few weeks. They've just been sinking. You've got Walsall who were beaten 3-0 by Millwall.
Yes, we've got both those teams coming up, by the way, within the next month.
Yeah, Blackpool went and got a point at Walsall as well.
Blackpool playing very well at the moment, actually. It's storming up the league.
Well, it's good to see. It's good to see because Blackpool, I'd love to see what they're going to do next season. Because this season was always going to be consolidation for them and just trying to stay up. Because obviously the Oystons, they aren't providing much money. But what they are getting, it's value for money, really. It'll be interesting to see actually, but I think last season, for the money they spent, they did really well. Because if you look at us, we almost finished bottom. Really, there was a chance where we could have finished bottom, and we spent so much money more than them. This season, the budget has been reduced more. They've got a new squad of players, a lot of them young players, but still they're kind of punching above the weight. And they're on a 4-game unbeaten run, is it? 4 or 5 games. So, yeah, it's good to see.
Blackpool's previous results, they beat Scunthorpe
5-0.
5-0, yes. Drew with Walsall, a very, very good result. Walsall up there with Latics. Then drew 0-0 with Sheffield United. Once again, another team up there. And then beat Gillingham 1-0. So Blackpool are doing us lots and lots of favours at the moment. But yeah, the tide is turning for Blackpool, I think. And I think they're going to be safe now. They're peaking at the right time, as they say. And let's see if they make the playoffs, shall we? Because Bolton did it that time. There's still just enough time. Let's have a look. There are 14 points between Blackpool and the playoffs. So let's see if they can do it. If they go on a good run, they could maybe do a Bolton. They could maybe squeeze in.
I think if they did go up, what would they do? I think that would be
have a party, probably.
Yeah. Obviously, it's a big outside chance, but they always say there's always one team that does it. So you can never completely rule them out, especially when they're on a really good run of form now. They seem to have clicked. Like Latics have done. They took a bit more time, obviously, because the players aren't as good, but they are clicking now. I think next season, if they keep that squad together, they've probably got a lot of players on 1-year contracts. So if they can extend that contract by maybe 1 or 2 years, they could be in with a chance next season. If we go up, Burton, and let's say Coventry or Gillingham, Walsall, whatever, then the teams that are coming down, Rotherham won't be well equipped. Bolton, they're in a disaster. And Charlton as well, another disaster there. So you're looking at Charlton and Bolton possibly could be in a worse situation than Latics, Millwall and Blackpool were last season. I love the end of last season and the start of this season. The worst League One in years this season could be trumped next season, possibly.
Well, I haven't been really watching League One of late, but I will bring us back to Blackpool because we do have to play them again this season. That's on the 30th of April down at Bloomfield Road, the penultimate game of the season, and that is shaping up to be, well, it's always a cracker, isn't it, Blackpool versus Wigan, but this one in particular is going to be, I reckon, well, maybe even, go on, I'm going to stick my neck out and say that Blackpool, by that point, will be pushing for the playoffs. Go on, let's tempt fate, shall we? Let's play devil's advocate with the recent run that they've been on and extrapolate that across the rest of the season. If they were to continue picking up 2 points a game, and there are, how many games left? There are 17 games left at 2 points a game.
They could win the league.
Yeah, that's it, right.
You predicted at the start of the season Blackpool would win the league.
Yeah, I did. On that other podcast, I predicted that Blackpool would win the league, and I'm standing by that. They're going to do it.
Who's in the pansy in that?
Well, they're only 22 points away from us, So we'd better watch out.
It was in the fanzine that you predicted.
Yes, that is right. In the All Gone Latics fanzine, yes, I predicted that Blackpool would win the league. I don't know how serious I was being, but as it turns out, very serious, because they're playing very well at the moment, so watch out.
Leicester as well to win the league, I think. I think Leicester, yeah.
That was Bournemouth, wasn't it, that I predicted? Oh, I wish I had the fanzines with me right here. I don't, unfortunately. I could have checked. Yes, so that's shaping up nicely for the end of the season. But let's just quickly get back to the next few games that we've got coming up and the subject of the pitch again. We've got Oldham on Saturday, and I think the pitch is not going to be too great for that. However, after that, looking at my diary here, we play Walsall away, so that's 1 week for the pitch to recuperate, and then we've got Bury at home. So there we have 2 weeks for the groundsman to work his magic and plant his magic seeds and make it all grow back again. There's been some talk about the pitch being relayed, and I'm not sure when that's actually going to be. Allegedly, it's going to take 4 weeks, but that's probably going to be at the end of the season. So this 2-week period, how much better is the pitch going to be in that time? Are the Warriors going to be playing there at any time? Do you know, being a Warriors fan yourself, Liam?
Yeah, the Warriors are playing on the 20th and 26th. That's not great at all.
Well, this raises the question, actually, of why they would choose to play a Latics under-18s game at the DW Stadium. I mean, as a spectacle, yes, we all enjoyed it, but in the long term, are we going to suffer for this? Is the pitch going to be irreparably damaged and a sandpit for the rest of the season, all because we decided to move that game from Robin Park to the DW Stadium?
Well, in fact, we would have to move the game from the DW to Robin Park, because all FA Youth Cup games are played at the host team's first team stadium.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
So in the previous rounds against Stevenage and Derby, they were still played there.
Right.
I think if we said to the FA, look, the pitch is in a mess. We've got Warriors playing there as well, playing 3 times this month. You know, let us off here. I think we could have moved it to Robin Park.
We could have done, because there were 500, 600 of us there. We probably could have squeezed into that one stand. I would have stood up around the pitch to watch the game. I wouldn't have minded.
I think it would have been a good little atmosphere.
It's actually quite good. The Robin Park Arena, I've been there a few times, even though the running track around it offers a bit of distance between the stand and the pitch. You still get a very, very good view. What you can do there, you're free to go and walk down the sides of the pitch, because there are some standing areas behind the goals, or at least one of the goals. You can just go and stand there, and you're really, really close to the action. You can get a really good view of what's going on.
Well, nowadays, they always need some ball boys. You're very much welcome to go and stand behind one of the goals.
Are you going to be the next Walsall ball boy? Apply now.
But I went against Port Vale. We won 5-1 reserves. And every time the ball went out of play, they'd go 50 yards one way, because, you know, with the running track, there's nothing stopping it. There's all them trees as well in the corner. So the ball would go flying somewhere. And the keeper would have to go and run and get it. And the game finished about 10 o'clock at night.
I'd like to know what the condition of the pitch is at the Robin Park Arena currently. I don't know what sort of games they've been playing there. I don't even know if Robin Park are playing of late, because I've not seen the games advertised this season.
Sadly, they folded.
Oh no, really?
I think it was about 18 months ago. Not last season, the season before, I think it was.
Oh, that's sad, isn't it? Because there used to be 2 teams that played there.
I think it was maybe for the best.
Oh, really?
In terms of Latics, it was, because the groundsmen do a really good job at Robin Park, because the pitch was always really good, I thought. But except at winter, really, it did suffer, because you have 2 teams playing there, and the weather, it's just hard to juggle. But nowadays, I think, with only our reserves playing there, the pitch will really fare better.
Yes.
So on a selfish point of view for Latics, it's better for us. But obviously Robin Park, we'd have quite a few fans who went to the games, who supported us as well, so that was nice. Especially when they'd play at 12 o'clock, and we'd play at 3. So people could go to both games on the same day.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was actually quite good, because I remember those being advertised a lot on the website saying,
Yeah.
get on down to Robin Park beforehand and watch another game for an extra couple of quid or what have you. So that must have boosted our attendances. Well, Liam, it seems to me that the correct solution is obviously move the Wigan Athletic first team games to the fantastically pruned Robin Park Arena. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
No one can deny that they're the greatest thing alive.
Come on, you Latics. Okay, so, Liam, I believe you have some stuff to say about the Wigan Warriors. Is that true?
Yep.
And what is that?
I think it's time for them to think about moving.
Okay. Well, maybe they could go to the Macron Stadium when we buy it from Bolton.
But yeah, that's like the ideal, really, as a short-term solution.
Yeah. Do you think Whelan can go over there, hop on the bus and just head on over there and say to the chairman there,
Go outside.
yeah, go outside.
Yeah, exactly.
Say to go outside, here, I'll give you this 100 quid. It'll save you from administration.
Is that
Warriors play here, come on.
Is that Barry Worthington or Dave Whelan?
There's no difference.
It's either open top bus going over Black Bridge.
Oh, but everybody forgets the thing that he said. If Antolin Alcaraz plays for Wigan again, I'll burn my backside on Beach Hill. And he never did, even though Alcaraz did play for us again. And actually, we're glad that he didn't, because it saved a lawsuit.
With the case of Anthony Alcaraz against the PWU Podcast in session.
But why are we talking about the PWU podcast? Because this is the AGL Media Podcast, which is nothing to do with the beep, beep, beep podcast. We're going to have to beep it out, because it's naughty, naughty words.
One sec. Yeah, that's all.
Stick an old top bus round and it's nice all round and up through the beach hills. Everybody waving.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, that was Barry. Well, thank you for joining us tonight, Barry.
That was a good impersonation, wasn't it?
You're right on the ball, aren't you, tonight?
Yeah.
Right, and look at that. Time is running low on this particular episode of the AGL Media Podcast.
Just a quick stuff with Wigan Athletic. Jordi Gomez off. Ben Watson on. 10 minutes left.
Oh, what's going to happen?
Nobody knows.
Ooh, tune in for the next edition to find out what happens. Will Wigan Athletic win the FA Cup? Just fast forward the DVD and we'll find out now for you.
It's a good night from you.
And it's a good night from him. Sayonara.
Goodbye.
Tell you about our history. I'm as proud of the boys who've worn the blue as your club means to you. Deeds from long ago, cup ties and giant killers, men like Noel Ward, Harry Line and Tommy Gore. Finally the league, after 30 years of trying, we never will forget the ones who got us there. Formed in an era when Orwell came to visit, a harder time you couldn't find, but they did it anyway. Oh, sit down, oh, sit down, oh, sit down. I'll tell you about our history. I'm as proud of the boys who've worn the blue as your club means to you. As proud of an non-league heritage as of the Premier League. Proud of the men who fought against the odds just to form the team. Proud of the ones who always kept the faith through the darkest days. They say we have no history. They say we have no history. They say we have no history, but our history is proud. Oh, sit down, oh, sit down, oh, sit down. I'll tell you about our history. I'm as proud of the boys who've worn the blue as your club means to you.
This week's theme tune was provided by the Empty Seats. The All Gone Latics Media Podcast will be back again whenever we decide to record something. Until then, see ya!